Noswaith dda, mae'n ddydd Llun, mae'n 8 o'r gloch, mae'n hen bryd am Nervous Chat. And that's a clue to my guests tonight. It's Monday night and it's 8 o'clock and it's time for a Nervous Chat. Tonight I am welcoming a lovely couple who from my homeland of Wales. So I've already got an affinity to them. Who absolutely love horror and everything Halloween and horror related. And I've been really excited to talk to them about everything that they do, their channel, etc., and the fact they've just started up some new ventures as well. So without further ado, let me welcome Celyn and Johnny from Hangtime Horror.
Hello.
Hello guys, how are you?
Not bad.
Very good, thank you.
Good. Thank you for joining me tonight.
No worries. It's just exciting, isn't it?
It's our pleasure.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I could listen to your accents all night. I love them. I love Welsh accents. I think my wife's actually going to tune in tonight because she's absolutely adores Welsh accents.
Really?
So and she doesn't often get to watch it live. She usually has to watch the replay if she's going to watch. But yeah, tonight she was like, "Oh no, I'm going to make a real effort tonight because I love Welsh accents." So yeah, so
isn't it?
so that's absolutely fabulous. So I suppose let's start from the beginning. How did the I don't want to call it an obsession, but how did the interest in all things horror and Halloween start?
Well, yeah. So I've been brought up around horror really since I was little. But you were definitely the reason why I got into it a lot more. Literally anything true crime, like spooky. Blame this guy.
I think I got Celyn into horror films and you got me into roller coasters.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's a nice pairing, really, isn't it? Because I watched original horror films since the age of 6, I would say.
Yeah.
Literally watched The Exorcist at 6. So,
Wow.
probably scarred me. But yeah, I've always been scared of roller coasters. But you brought me into that, and I brought you into more horror films.
Yeah,
isn't it?
definitely. So we complement each other rather well,
Yeah,
I think.
Definitely.
I was literally just about to say what a perfect compliment to each other. Then that, and obviously, so Hangtime Horror. Well, how did Hangtime Horror start? Did it start on Instagram, or because obviously we'll talk in a minute about the latest venture because I want to obviously introduce that for you and get people on board with that. So was it an Instagram thing to begin with, Hangtime Horror, or was it a TikTok, or how did it start?
It started as my personal account. It was just like Celyn Harvey XO, and then as our obsession grew and we were going to theme parks a lot, we decided to kind of make it our own thing really, and just document our travels and our obsession, and obviously your anxieties, getting over roller coasters and things like that. Because
that was a major anxiety of mine, and it grew into almost like an obsession. I was watching roller coaster enthusiasts on YouTube and stuff like that, really getting into the terminology. And that's why then eventually I joined your Instagram, really, isn't it?
And we became Hangtime Horror, really.
Yeah.
So hang time obviously is the element that you get when you hang upside down, and the whole,
the feeling of being out of your seat, really, isn't it?
That's the best part for me on a roller coaster. That almost oh my god, I'm going to slip out feeling.
Yeah.
And then obviously the horror.
The horror aspect.
So, but you also get a bit of Hangtime Horror when you're upside down as well. So it's I don't know, a play on words. Really.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. When I first saw the account name, I I wasn't like you. I'm still learning terminology, so hang time wasn't one I was totally au fait with, and I thought, oh, it's an account about everything horror and Halloween. I hadn't made the hang time connection, and then obviously once you'd explained a bit more about where the hang time part of it came from when we spoke a few weeks ago on Instagram, and then obviously finding out that Johnny had similar anxieties to myself about roller coasters, and I just thought, what a really clever name that is, because it's hang time and horror, which are your passions.
Yeah.
But for Johnny, hang time was also horror.
Yeah.
And I just thought, that's absolutely brilliant. I don't know whether that was deliberate or accidental, but what an absolutely brilliant name.
I think we were looking at like alliteration as well, isn't it? It's always
good
to have that sort of that alliteration there, isn't it? But it is both of our passions together.
Yeah.
Because obviously you've only really recently fully fledged joined Hangtime Horror, haven't you, Johnny? So what was it that you were doing before that?
So I was doing, well, I'm still doing at the moment, movie reviews. It's just under JH Movie Reviews. And I have a major passion in just film in general. So I make 1 minute reviews on TikTok, and that's my passion. But I was trying to kind of cross-pollinate and have my own little Instagram that I would do for roller coasters. But I thought it would be best if we had an account together so we can show our journey together.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. Husband and wife teams, they've proven to be successful ventures usually, as long as they don't obviously cause domestics. Don't. But no, I think it's great that you have that shared passion and that you've brought it together now, and and as you say, you've got your movie reviews as well.
Yes.
Which what I will do is I will add to the description for the video for anybody that's interested the link for your TikTok for the movie reviews, because I know that there are quite a few of the people that watch the show that are also into movies, so they'd be absolutely fascinated to obviously see your reviews and come and follow you on that. So I will add that into the description afterwards.
Brilliant.
So I suppose the recent thing, which obviously I noticed and I've been trying to support you guys with, is you've ventured into the crazy world of YouTube and sort of video creation and vlogging. Are you mad?
Just a little.
I remember starting my YouTube channel, and even now sometimes I look back and think, I've created a monster here. I must have been mad. Why? What on earth possessed me to do this? But it's quite addictive.
Yeah.
And it's you sort of carry on wanting to do it. So why all of a sudden now did you think now's the time to go into YouTube?
I think mainly because again, it's like a mix of both of us. You're into your film reviewing, but I'm the filmmaker, so I'm very much into my videography. That's basically what I do. I'm a digital content producer on a regular job. So it's meshing my interest in horror, roller coasters and theme parks, and my absolute obsession with filmmaking. So actually being able to capture like real events in such high quality going forward, it's going to be, I'm going to love it.
And with our video, we kind of wanted to go a different route to other vloggers, really, isn't it? We wanted to kind of film the day and then kind of have our thoughts while sitting down, because we have time to think about what happened on that day. So we thought that format would fit us better, because we are quite nervous and shy people, I would say, and quite introverts. So doing it that way, we didn't like script it or anything. It was just like we'll just talk and see if we can edit it down so that it fits, basically.
One of the beauties of obviously making YouTube videos, as you just said there, the magic E word, edit.
Yeah.
So it's not live. I mean, this is more nerve-wracking probably than for me than vlogging, because I can always edit it. If I don't like it, I can always edit it out. It doesn't matter. Whereas obviously this, it's warts and all. If this messes up, and I'll just pre-warn you, something usually does go wrong at some point during the show. so you might have to bear with me on technical issues. But yeah, but this obviously there's no editing. It's just it is what it is, and we just sort of plow on. Yeah, vlogging is it's a great thing, and I think it's a very personal thing. You know, and it sounds like you've got your USP, which is fantastic. You know, and it's very hard to find a USP, I think, because there's so many YouTube channels out there now. You know, but I'm looking forward to your videos. I really am, because one, it means I get to listen to your Welsh accents even more, which just reminds me of home. Even though I'm from North Wales, South Wales was the accent that I loved, because it's so lovely and sing song, and it's just beautiful.
Mine is
Thick accent.
But yeah, and I just think, you know, that you've got a USP there, which is absolutely fantastic. So are you going to start your vlogging then from next season, I guess, now?
Yeah.
Getting into more events and trying to get to more theme parks. Like, there's a few on our bucket list. We haven't been to Flamingo Land yet. We haven't been to Fantasy Island.
Yeah, so Fear Island, I've heard, is really good next year.
For the Halloween event, isn't it? So,
and we've obviously done a few this year that we're definitely going back for.
Yeah.
100%. So, yeah, next season.
Yeah, Coaster Chicken, who I believe you know, and Coaster Tog, who I'm sure you know, because everybody on Instagram knows who Coaster Tog is, did Fear Island, and from what I saw, it looked absolutely amazing. And like, it was, you know, I spoke about this with the guests a couple of weeks ago, about how it really does seem like the smaller parks are doing better themed horror now, and are really upping their game. You know, and the big parks are kind of sitting back a little bit and riding past glory almost.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Obviously, Halloween is something I definitely want to talk to you guys about. Out of interest, what was your best scare experience this year?
I think Fear Avon Valley was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Oh my gosh, the exorcism literally blew me out of the water.
Yeah.
But yours was Vita Nova, wasn't it?
Vita Nova, where you literally, as soon as you go into the maze, you get separated straight away.
Yeah.
There's no, like, you know, there's crawl sections. You get electrocuted. Not bad, but like a static shock. The acting in there was incredible. There's major parts with like walls that are really close together.
And fog.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot see in front of your face. Fog.
Whereas the exorcism, which you talked about, is more of an experience where you're watching an exorcism happening. It's more of a theatre piece.
Yeah. Wow.
And that was incredible.
And the stunt.
Yeah, the stunt as well.
I won't spoil it, just in case it is there for next year, but there's a specific stunt. Oh my god.
Yeah, how they do it is incredible.
Do it is incredible. I know there's an upcharge, but it's 100% worth it.
Yeah. But that was our favourite. We usually go to Fight Nights every year, don't we?
Yeah.
That's usually our go-to place. That's where we started our kind of horror maze kind of thing. And
it's where you got over your fear of coasters. Really.
Yeah, so Thorpe Park is kind of the place we always go. But yeah, that was our greatest scare experience, was Fear Avon Valley.
This year, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we had the shared experience of Fright Nights. For me, it was my first ever full-on Halloween scare mazes, and you've probably watched the vlog and seen how disappointed I was. Yeah. You know that, and yet I've heard other people who had amazing experiences in the same mazes, but for me, it was really quite poor, and that does seem to be a general consensus, is that you know, that I think that, having looked back now at my experience and think, you know, I wonder if the fact that I went there on a really busy day and the reason that it was so tame, if you like, was that they were desperate to get as many people through, keep that through flow as quickly as they could. And therefore there wasn't the opportunities that there possibly would have been on a quieter day. That shouldn't make a difference, in my opinion. We've all paid the same money. But I mean, what was your experience of Fright Nights? Because obviously that was just my experience. How did you find Fright Nights this year?
We went there on a quiet week, didn't we? So we literally
we looped Creek Freaks
because we had a surprise basically when we went. We stayed in the Thorpe Shark cabins, didn't we? And they gave us.
Oh, they're awesome.
Yeah, they are awesome, and they gave us free maze tickets, didn't they? At one point,
we woke up basically. We had a letter in our room, and it said, "Take this to the reception."
And they do they had a wheel which had like trick or treat.
Yeah, and we landed on Trick.
And we landed on Trick, and they said we hope you like horror mazes because you're gonna get free entry basically to one of the mazes.
Oh, that's amazing, isn't it? That's really good.
So basically,
were they also? Sorry, go on.
So basically, they had when you stay there, they give you between 3 and 4 free access to all the mazes. So
wow!
You can use them if you want to, and not only that, we also had the free one. So we decided to use it on Creek Freak Massacre because that's our favorite one there. And we looped it, I think, four times at that point, and we did survival games, I think, on that day 3 times. So it's all based on, again, it's like with scare mazes, it's all based on the run through, isn't it? It's each experience is different.
And because obviously the actors are improvising as well, so you get a different experience each time you go into the maze. So I find that's the only downside I found recently about like Fright Nights and things like that, is the fact that they're paid. Whereas when we first started, it was free and you can literally lap them as many times as you want.
Yeah.
You can't guarantee that you are going to have a good run through.
Yeah, and you're paying that money, and it's the same with like we went to, I know it's a totally different place, but with Avon Valley, you pay to get in, and then you can loop the mazes as many times as you want. You're not paying per maze, so you can have different experiences. But Fright Nights, it used to be, as you said, it used to be non-paid, and now it is. So that's a big problem for us because we go there specifically for the mazes, and then you have to pay £10 per maze basically, which is awful, really. I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on this. And it's a bugbear of mine at the moment. Is obviously during COVID, the upcharge and the charge for mazes was introduced to try and allow everybody to get a free or to get the opportunity to do the mazes. It stopped the lapping constantly, which I kind of understood, but for me, there isn't the need for that now because there's no restrictions. But I don't feel like the upcharge that they're still charging, and it has gone up slightly each year, is actually producing any better than mazes, from what I'm hearing. The theming's not got any better. The acting is well, I mean, the acting that I experienced was generally quite poor, or certainly that was my impression.
Yeah.
And I did come out thinking, I paid my £30 odd, for my Scary 4 or whatever it was called ticket, and actually I feel like I've been robbed because this would have been free 3-4 years ago. And and I'm being told that people don't think you're getting any more for your money, and certainly I don't think it was worth the money that I paid, and it's a great shame because you would think extra money coming in, extra money spent on on the experience, but sadly we've come to learn with Merlin that doesn't always necessarily prove to be the case.
No.
But
we'll see.
So obviously you did Fright Nights and all that, and then obviously Celyn and I were talking about Scarefest, and then lo and behold she tells me the amazing news that you guys got. Do you want to obviously let people know?
So we won a competition thanks to you. You left a comment on, is it Theme Seekers?
Yeah, Theme Seekers, who are a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we won the competition.
We won the competition and off we went to Scarefest, really.
First ever time there, never been there before. And I had a brilliant time. I loved it. Scarefest was brilliant. Like the theming, the acting, I thought was incredible.
Yeah.
But you had a little slight different opinion on it.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, some mazes were hit or miss for me. But I've also been hearing obviously a lot of discourse within the community saying obviously towers aren't putting enough in, yada yada yada. But I can see where they're coming from as well. But I still enjoyed, you know. So yeah.
I think the bonus for us, because obviously for me as well, Scarefest, it was my first time. I'd been to Scarefest last year, but I didn't do any mazes or anything. I literally just went there for a day on rides, so I didn't really do Scarefest in my opinion. So it was all new. The mazes were all new, but it seems the main complaint in the community was that they just rehashed old mazes.
Yeah.
Which I get, you know, that's a valid point. And obviously for yourselves and for myself, you know, there wasn't that. It was a completely new experience. And I have to say, my experience was that Scarefest was better than Fright Nights. I didn't get any scares at Fright Nights at all. It was very, you know, as I say, it was very tame, very predictable, and nothing really jumped out particularly at me. Whereas I went and did Scarefest, only did 3 of the sort of mazes there because unfortunately the attic was sold out, which you know was unfortunate. But
yeah.
And I was scared in the 2 scare mazes. I was actually genuinely scared, and in the, you know, you can see it in the Alton Towers vlog when I've come out of Altonville mine tours, and I'm like, you know, I'm shaking because my word, they were savage in there. You know, and I'll never, that image of Grandad in his underpants will never leave my mind.
I found it the opposite way, see.
Okay.
Wasn't intense enough for me.
No, you even said at the end, like, this would be good as like family mazes, isn't it? But I don't know. I got frightened a lot.
I don't know. I must be a hard ass.
It must be. But I got to say though, I think genuinely now that Thorpe Park can learn a lot from Alton Towers, because Alton Towers' theming is top end. Basically, it is just amazing. And we had that, like, you know, try not to spoil, but there was like a fright at the end of Altonville, which was genuinely scary and jump out of our skin.
We haven't experienced something like that before.
No.
But at the same time, Scarefest can learn a lot about
a lot from Fright Nights as well.
Because I feel like there's not enough like roaming actors and things like that. I realise obviously the parks are massive, you know, the size wise, but yeah, I don't know. They can learn from each other basically.
Yeah. And they can both learn then from Fury of Von Valley.
Who just knocks them both out of the park.
Do you know what? They could both learn a lot from Chesington.
Really?
And I say this all the time about Chesington. You know, when it comes to theming, as far as Merlin parks are concerned, you can't beat Chesington. You know, they really go all out. They you know, and sadly this year they toned back the roaming actors a little bit. I'm assuming that last year they must have got a few complaints because there was a lot going on roaming around the park last year, and it is a family park, so I kind of understand the complaints a little bit. But even with the slightly toning down, the theming was still great, and it's a joined up theme that they have as well. And whoever it is at Chesington that comes up with the theming for all these different events that they do, Mardi Gras, Wilderfest or Wilderfest, you know, Halloween, Winter's Tale, they absolutely nail it every single time. Well, these people work for Merlin.
Yeah.
So why can't
you think it would be the same?
So why aren't they talking to each other? You know. And I would even say my experience. I did Creepy Caves this year, because it was its final year, and I thought, do you know what, I'm going to go and do it. And I only did the 10-year plus session. not the extreme after hours one.
I would do that.
And that was pretty, considering we are talking about a family park, that was pretty intense. And their scare zone, Vile Villages, is absolutely amazing. And I've got a friend who did the Vile Villages After Dark, and she showed me the waiver that she had to sign.
Oh my God.
To do it. And from what I was hearing, they were literally there's a section where they've dug a grave, and apparently they were putting people in the grave in the after hours section. They were putting bags over their heads. They were having water tipped over their heads. There was just all sorts of absolute craziness going on. And it was this. I've heard a few people in the coaster community say that Chesington was actually the most intense experience that they had this Halloween season. And then you link all that with the fact that they put on these amazing shows, that across the park as well, which are always great to go and watch, and and the actors always seem to be well engaged in it and really sold on what they're doing, which just makes it that much more credible, I suppose. And but as we say, they work for Merlin.
Yeah.
Whoever it is that does all this at Chesington works for Merlin. So why are they not spreading this love around a bit? It doesn't make sense. If you do get a chance next year, I fully recommend that you do try and get to Chesington for Halloween, because it is a great theme, great themed event. And I think it'd be interesting to get your view on it, coming from that that sort of real horror perspective. But I enjoyed it, and it was probably my favorite. It always seems to be that it is my favorite park to go to at Halloween, and in fact the last couple of years it's the only one we've sort of bothered with, because there's always a great all-round show going on of it. And I say the theming is, it hits you as soon as you walk through the gates. The theming is there, you can't miss it. It's consistent throughout the park. So you definitely need to go and do that. So on balance then, I'm guessing you agree then that Scarefest was better than Fright Nights as far as overall.
Oh, I don't know. City with Fright Nights, and that's what I kind of look for. It depends on what you kind of want out of your scare mazes, I guess. If you want a more theatrical experience, I would recommend Scarefest. But if you after a bit more frights, obviously.
We had literally in Fright Nights, we went through survival games and we got separated, obviously. And there was literally a point where I was put on my knees and my hand on the hands on the wall, head on the wall. Celyn comes walking in and he goes, "Do you want to join him?" And she goes, "No." So we
love
had
it.
Great experience. That was what was great about survival games, I guess. There were times where we were in there for 15 minutes though, and times where we were in there for 5. Once you knew the route, that was it. And if you could find that route straight away, with paying £10 as well, if you could find that route straight away, that's it. Do you know what I mean? That's your experience.
Yeah.
But we had some good experiences there. I would recommend Alton Towers Scarefest for the theming and the storytelling as well. The storylines of them were brilliant.
Yeah.
But Fright Nights did feel, to me, a bit more intense at times, I think. But I do agree with you. Fright Nights was lacking a little bit this year.
Yeah, it is one of the weaker ones that I've experienced, but it still beats Salton. I'm sorry.
That's fair. At the end of the day, if we all had the same opinion, we'd be living in a very boring world, wouldn't we? I would have loved to have had your experience of survival games where somebody put me on my knees and made me head on the wall. I would have got value for. I would have felt like I'd had some value for money there. But I didn't get any of that. The most extreme I got was being pushed through a blood curtain.
Right.
And even in the beginning, when they separate you from even if you're in the cage with somebody else, in your a friend or whatever, and they separate you by pulling you back through the curtain. the funny story is, so they took Coaster Tog, who was with me. They took him out, pulled him back. I knew about the pulling back through the curtain, and that was fine. I was prepared for it. I was like, it's absolutely fine. What made it actually humorous for me was the fact that the guy who came to pull me back through the curtain came through the curtain, leant over and whispered into my ear, "Don't worry, I'm just going to pull you back through the curtain now, and then I'm going to turn you to the right, and you just follow that corridor."
Really? Wow.
Yeah. and I went, "What? No,
Yeah.
don't tell me that. That's supposed to be part of it, isn't it?"
Yeah.
So I laughed about that afterwards. I was like, even the best, what everyone has billed as the best part of the scare was ruined by this guy just telling me exactly what was going to happen and which direction I needed to go. And I was just thought, it was
some experiences like that where actors have kind of taken us out
of it. Yeah, that's happened. Yeah, in the past.
Yeah, we did Blair Witch Project, didn't we?
Way
back in when Fright Nights was obviously free almost. But,
yeah.
But right at the end, it was like a big finale of
like
sorts.
Instead of the big finale, and he was doing a joke rather than scaring us, isn't it? Like, it doesn't quite work.
I'm vegan. I don't eat meat.
That's what he said, and it's like, oh, right, okay.
Okay, and it just broke
that's more funny
totally.
than
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think so. I've got to ask you because you did. Is it the Flight? The Darkfield, the Flight.
Yes.
And obviously, Merlin ventured into Darkfield experiences this year with the Terminal and with the Invitation. What did you feel about them?
I didn't like them. I didn't like them at all. Terminal was god awful for me. Just honestly, didn't like it. Just again, it's not something that I enjoy it on my scare mazes. I prefer much more physical stuff happening to me. But if it sounds is more your thing, I know it kind of is with you.
Yeah.
Fair enough, but not for me.
I'm gonna say something quite controversial, I guess. I really enjoyed Terminal. I enjoyed it the 2 times that we did it. I enjoyed it actually the second time more, knowing what to expect. But I don't know. I think my scares come from sounds, like imagining things. I can, if I've got an actor in front of me, I can kind of guess what they're going to do to scare me. Whereas with sound, I can't predict what's going to go on. So that was my experience. But I didn't enjoy Invitation. So that's where you enjoyed it a little bit more.
I enjoyed it a bit more because there was more physical effects. So I don't know. It's a bit depends what you enjoy, isn't it?
See, I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to side with Celyn here because I thought the Terminal was dire.
Yeah.
To the point where I was actually dozing off about halfway through it. Don't bother me, because I know if the noise is around me, like something is there.
Yeah.
Even just the slightest trigger of another sense. So if it had been a smell, or just the slightest touch, it would have been more credible.
Yeah.
But to totally rely on people's imaginations, and then the really annoying guy sat directly opposite me who kept switching the light on his watch as well didn't really help. I just didn't find it at all thing, and I wasn't looking forward to the Invitation because up until I went, the people who I know's experience of the Invitation was exactly the same, that it was exactly the same sort of setup, just a different story. My experience of the Invitation was actually quite different because I think they'd changed it a little bit because they'd added the swing door of the cage in the middle at the beginning, which apparently wasn't there originally. There was the squirting in the face of the blood spatter, which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
And then right at the end, when all the sort of lights came back on, what we got was a member of staff came rushing in, going, "Quick, get out, get out, get out. You're in danger, get out quick." And there was somebody actually in the cage trying to get out.
Yeah, we had a vampire in the cage.
Yeah. And she was pleading with us to let her out.
Oh wow.
And I just thought, this is, you know, this is brilliant from the point of view of it's that extra little something that's triggered another sense, and then even after I've taken the headphones off, the story's continuing.
Yeah.
So it kind of made it a bit more, you know, a bit. My experience was better, but I do appreciate that in the beginning, those extra aspects weren't there. It was totally sound related, like Terminal. And I think they decided that, you know, there were so many people slating it in the community that maybe they decided to just change it up a little bit. And I think it did make a big difference. Because, you know, as I say, my experience of Invitation was I quite enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it was terrifying. I wouldn't say it was the best thing I'd ever done, but it was certainly more enjoyable for me than Terminal.
Yeah.
I mean, how did they compare to the Flight? Wasn't it? You said it was called.
Yeah, Flight.
Well, Flight was a different level.
Totally different level.
Merlin shouldn't get involved with dark fields at all.
Because we were nervous going in, weren't we? Like, is this going to be the exact same thing?
Yeah.
And it wasn't. It really wasn't.
It was everything that I was looking for, at least. There was a lot more physical stuff happening. I mean, just the set design was much better.
Oh, yeah. Well, you walk in, it's a shipping container again on the outside, but when you walk in, it genuinely looks like a plane.
Yes.
And what's great is they give you boarding passes before you go in that says your seat number on it. And they split up your group, so we were split up. So you wouldn't be like, oh, you know, you wouldn't be grabbing onto each other like, oh, this is going on. You'd feel isolated in a way. And they even had stuff like you had to put your seatbelt on when the seatbelt light came on, and stuff like there was
do you know the TVs near the seatbelt signs? There was like an introduction to a woman and things. And
there was like a safety briefing, like the exits are here, here, and here. And even like there were certain sections like really physical things. Like, do you know you said about extra senses? There's generally a part where lightning goes off, and on the left-hand side is a mirror. So it looks like you're in a full plane rather than the plane which they'd made. You didn't see that.
No, but I noticed obviously the lights, lightning, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're going down.
Yeah. And the general consensus that I could hear from other people that were doing the flight is that they really enjoyed it. So
these kind of experiences aren't built for such short, little brief sections like this.
Because Flight was 30 minutes?
30 minutes.
30 minutes long. So
I think a lot of people thought that about Invitation and Terminal was that they were too short. Merlin had tried to take, you know, what is a great technology and a new thing, and tried to make it a bit more commercial by trying to make it short to get more people through, and it just didn't really work. And it's a shame because obviously they've got Darren Brown's Ghost Train, which is in essence a dark field experience, and that's done really well, and it's got the extra bits, and it's very credible, and you know, and it kind of messes with the head a little bit when you get in one train and then you get out, and it's, you know, the where you get out is completely different to where you got in, and you know, and it works. It works quite well. So to then think that, you know, Terminal and Invitation were going to work the way they were set up, I think was, you know, optimistic at best. Cheapskate at worst. You know, but again, it's I suppose it's different experiences. You know,
no reflection on Darkfield themselves, and that's what I feel like people are going to target Darkfield, not going to go to their attractions when we gave them an extra chance, didn't we? And we enjoyed it for what it was.
And now we can see literally those experiences aren't built for the throughput that Berlin attractions obviously go through, really.
Definitely not.
So
I think you're absolutely right. I think they've either got to commit to it properly next year if they're going to do it again, or scrap it as a.
I hope not.
I don't think they're going to do it.
I think they'll scrap it. I think the feedback was so negative overall that I think they will scrap it and look for something else. which is probably the best bet, because if they got it wrong, if you've got something so badly wrong, it's going to take a lot to reconvince people to try it again. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at it. The reputation is negative, and it's very hard to reverse a negative reputation. And I think that they're probably best off just going, do you know what? We gave it a go. It didn't work. Let's move on. But we'll see. Well, who knows? Merlin do surprise us.
Yes.
From time to time, and in positive ways. But it's we'll certainly see next year what they cook up for us.
Good go though. I mean, like, it's good that they're experimenting and trying new things and bringing new things to actually, to horror nights and things. But
yeah,
work out.
Obviously, their new scare zone, Darkest Doors, Death Stores. Sorry, Death Stores.
Yeah, that's it.
I absolutely love that. What did you think about that? I thought it was brilliant.
I thought that was one of the best things at Fright Nights, really, wasn't it?
Oh, you've got a video here as well with that bunny.
Oh, yeah.
We put it on our Instagram, I think. But there was a part where this bunny was literally just chasing me, and I just go
trying to dodge out of the way. And there was so many, and this is what we always say about any scare events: the more you put in, the more you get out of the actors, especially in scare zones, especially that scare zone. If you're interacting with them, they will give you back more. Because last year, when we did Creek Freak Mass, it was a Creek Freak Unchained, we were literally with an actor for 45 minutes having a chat. But
brilliant! Wow,
staying in character, and then other characters coming in and chatting to us. It was brilliant.
We did the buckwheat play, and just played Scrabble.
Brilliant. See, I remember last year. This year, I didn't get enough time to go and see the Amity Lycanthorpe shows and flash mobs. But I remember last year I went and we went there specifically because we took my son with us, who was only sort of, what was he, 6? No, he would have been 5 actually, and he wanted to go and see them because he loves vampires, and they were absolutely brilliant. They were so interactive. They were coming over, they were chatting to us, and they were chatting to him, and they were chatting to. We had a baby in the pram, and they were even cooing at the baby, but still in character. And it was absolutely brilliant. And it's like you say, those kind of scare zones, when you get that kind of experience, is brilliant. And Death's Doors was certainly for me a really good experience. I really enjoyed it. As you say, you get out what you put in, and I was determined to interact as much as I possibly could. And then right at the end, for me, it was the icing on the cake. I'm there laughing at because I had my eldest son with me, who isn't great with horror. And he hadn't done the mazes. I persuaded him to come and do Death's Doors, and he wasn't totally enjoying it. And I was so busy laughing at what was happening to him, I didn't realise that one of the actors had come around the back of me, come over my shoulder, and then all of a sudden just gone, boo, in my ear, and I literally jumped a mile. And it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. That they just decided on spec that was a good idea to do that, and that was going to get a scare, and I'll probably talk about that for years because I loved it. It was absolutely brilliant. So that was definitely a good one. So as far as obviously Halloween is concerned, Fear Avon was your favorite, I'm guessing. As far as whereabouts is that one?
Bristol, near Bristol.
Okay.
So it's not too far from us, about an hour and 45 minutes. So
okay,
we drove back the same day, didn't we? Yeah. But just their theming and how they get you into the mazes. There was
just the fact that you kind of enter through a portal.
Yeah.
You?
Wow.
There's this massive clown, and you just walk through its mouth.
Yeah.
And you would just end up in some sort of carnival-esque.
Yeah. And the thing is, literally the way you went to mazes as well. There was one maze there this year which you had to wear waders for.
Yeah, the pool.
There was literally 3 feet of water, wasn't there?
Yeah.
You had to walk through it. And there were actors jumping out at you. You had a torch, didn't you?
Yeah, and it flickered.
And it was programmed to flicker. So Celyn was at the front,
wow.
and he was getting the brunt of the scares then. And they had literally like there's what some people call the airtime machine, isn't it? Because there's a maze you go into, whereas a lift scene similar to Terminal and Invitation, but it actually goes up and down.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You actually lifted off.
You lifted off the ground.
I was holding on to like this because I genuinely thought I was going to fall over.
But they're theming. And obviously we went to Zip World as well, didn't we?
Yeah, so we went to the Monsters of the Mine, which is obviously our first ever YouTube video. That was pretty good as well.
Yeah.
For their first ever event.
Is that the one up at Llechwedd near Blaenau Ffestiniog, up that way?
The North Wales one, but this is in Aberdare in South Wales.
In South Wales, yeah.
Oh, okay, right.
So the one up in North Wales is the world's fastest zip line, just as in like on your front. But this is the
world's fastest.
No, not the world's fastest. The UK's.
No, the world's fastest seated.
Oh, seated
zip line.
Oh, okay, right.
And I got to tell you, like as I said to you before, like I'm anxious about going on rides, and I was even more anxious getting on the zip line then. But it was a good event. But we were saying about actors about it, isn't it? Like the actors there were good, and the masks were good, but they gave no preconceived warning to say that the actors would touch you. And that's a major problem because they basically get you in the car park straight away.
Wow.
Which is great and all.
And they do manhandle you, but there's no warning beforehand, which I think as a community, we all know if you're going to go to a scare event, you're probably going to get touched by actors. But some of these people might not have been to a scare event and might have reacted differently.
You can literally
assault
them. We've seen it happen.
We've seen assault happen in a scare maze.
Wow.
Very good. Somebody have to get removed, and then obviously it ruins our experience then. That's happened.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it does. Absolutely, it does. So obviously, Johnny, we were talking a bit before the show. I know we've talked at length about horror, and I apologise because I did mean to also talk about you and your ride anxiety, because obviously that's something that we have in common.
Yeah.
I talk about having my my YOLO moment, which was back during COVID when I sort of went, do you know what? I'm sick and tired of being the one holding the bags. I'm fed up of being so scared of these things. I've got to push myself, and that was the start of my journey. And so you obviously now have been conquering your fears as well, over probably about the same period of time as me. What was your moment for a change of mindset?
I guess it was Thorpe Park, wasn't it? That was when I got over my fears. I started on what was X at the time and is now The Walking Dead, the ride. But I started off on that, smaller coaster, family coaster, and then working my way up, basically. I think I did like Nemesis and stuff like that, and then finally got on Stealth. And what I say to people is always go on a roller coaster at least twice, because the first experience is totally different to the second experience. Now, what I've trained my body to do is not be desensitized to it, but the first time I ever go on a roller coaster, I feel all the feelings. Do you know what I mean? Like everything, I feel everything. But the second time, I feel I know what to expect in a way, and I can enjoy the layout, and I can enjoy just riding it, basically, isn't it?
And obviously, you've got me as your hype woman.
Yeah, so she used to be dragging me on, now I drag her on.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, we've got to do this again.
Do you know what's actually really funny about that, which it makes it actually us even more similar, is that's how my wife and I started off. She was the one who got me onto things, and now I'm the one who's the adrenaline junkie. Going off and trying all the rides, and she's, she still loves rides, of course she does, but yeah, she says that she's created a monster by pushing me to do these things. She's created an absolute monster, and it sounds like you guys have got exactly the same situation, although
literally, like how I got over my fears as well is learning about coasters as well. I used to be scared of restraints. I used to be totally scared of restraints, about them popping open, and stuff like that. but I watched a video on YouTube. I can't remember who
I
made
think it
it.
was Coasterbot.
I think it's Coasterbot. He made like a video about restraints and how they work. As soon
Yep.
as that happened, I've gained the confidence now. If I sit in a seat in a roller coaster and I don't feel safe, I'll ask a staff member, can you push it down further? Because I feel
Yeah.
safer then. But that's another way I've got over my fears, is literally learning about coasters and learning about the restraints and how they keep you safe, basically.
Yeah.
And always thinking the drive to a park is more dangerous than being on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That over that fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this got pushed me to the point now where I can I can say that I've been on the fastest and tallest roller coaster in Europe.
Red
So
Force.
on
Wow.
Red Force, which is mad to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's such a feeling of accomplishment, isn't it? When you know, I remember the first time I ever managed to get on Stealth. You know, because for even when I started braving bigger coasters, etc., it was the one I'd been quite sure that I'd never be able to get on because it was so fast and so high. I'm petrified of heights, absolutely petrified. You know, and so I was quite you know, I'm never going to be able to get on this. And that first time I got on it and then got off the other end and went, I've just done that.
Yeah.
I've literally just got on that roller coaster and done it.
Yeah.
You know, and if I never do it again, okay, but I've done it. You know, you said it yourself there. It's you know, it's that feeling, isn't it, of I've done it. And like you, knowing layouts and things is part of me keeping my anxiety under control. If I'm going to go and do a new roller coaster, I'll research it. I'll watch the POVs. So I kind of know, you know, what the bits are that are going to likely to trigger me as I'm going round. You know, and that's comforting.
Yeah.
And I definitely agree with the whole doing it twice, because I'd built up a real thing against Rita. Because my first ever ride on Rita was a really bad experience due to a number of factors. And because of that, up until October, I hadn't managed to get back on it because it just conjured up those memories every time of that really bad experience. Managed to do it, got back on it in October, did it again the second time, enjoyed it. You know, and was like, and to me, it's a different ride now.
Yeah.
Because my second experience was so much better. The people I did it with, you know, just the whole thing now is, and so for me, it's like Rita doesn't bother me anymore because I've had that experience. So I definitely agree that doing it twice sometimes is absolutely crucial.
Definitely. Because obviously I've been on roller coasters in our park that's here, isn't it, in Wales, but I never on anything as big as Stealth or anything like that. So it's pushing yourself to do it. And you know, you did the medal thing. You collect the medals, don't you, of each one
Yeah.
You go on. Well, the first time I went on Stealth, Celyn literally bought me a trophy, and I have a photo of me in the trophy by it, because I was like, I've
fantastic
it, basically. So
yeah. It's amazing though, isn't it? The having that trophy though makes the whole thing. It's just like a little physical reminder, isn't it, of the experience. You know, that, as you say, mine's the medal collection. So and like you now have your trophy, and it's that real sense of accomplishment.
Definitely.
So right, I'm going to obviously ask if anyone's got any questions for you, because I could chat to you guys all night. I'm absolutely loving, and we really have to try and arrange it so that we meet up at Thorpe Park and do some kind of vlog together, because I think I'd absolutely love to do that. I think you know, it would be absolutely brilliant. So I have got a question. Coaster Chicken apologizes for the fact that he can't be here tonight. He really wanted to be here, but he's busy living up the high life in Disneyland Paris. So he asked me to ask you, what are your 5? He said 5. I think he was being optimistic that the show would go on, you know, for hours maybe. But your 5 favorite horror movies and why?
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Definitely doing people ask my favourite movies.
I've got to stick with some of the classics, I think. Well, I got Texas Chainsaw Massacre there, so obviously one of those. Nightmare on Elm Street. I think Exorcist, definitely.
Okay.
So that's 3. I'm gonna put some modern ones in. Get Out.
Yeah, that's one of mine.
And actually a new film, Nope, as well. Nope was very good.
Okay, for me, Scream, Get Out, obviously, because I love Jordan Peele. I just love all his films. Oh, what's the one you watched the other day?
Barbarian.
Barbarian. I really enjoyed Barbarian. Oh my god, this is like throwing me off.
Totally blank.
I've literally forgotten every single horror movie I've ever watched in my life. But yeah, those are my main 3 anyway. I'll just tell you 3.
Yeah.
I can't think of any more.
And for you guys, what makes a good horror movie? Because obviously Coaster Chicken asked me to ask why you like those particular movies. So I'm guessing there's something specifically you look for in them, or something that stands out in those movies particularly.
I love horror movies with another hidden layer. So we almost blank on this kind of word. They mentioned it in the new Scream. So Jordan Peele has this kind of style, isn't it? And
about his films.
yeah, there's always some sort of like metaphor, or there's like, for instance, in Get Out, obviously a lot to do with Black history and things like that. He literally overcomes stuff like this by putting cotton in his ears. So I love the whole symbolism and things like that. So that's why I tend to look at horror movies, as well as obviously the thrills and the gore and all that malarkey. But as you know, as long as it's a hidden layer with something, I love it.
Mine is based more on childhood memories. Like, I've been brought up by my mum loves horror movies, so she brought me up on all the original 80s horror movies, and that's kind of how I got into horror. So that's why I picked mine, is because most of them are from the 80s.
You could tell I'm the filmmaker.
You picked one of the ones that you picked as your favorite, Johnny, is the one I've still, at 44 years of age, still never been able to watch, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Really?
I absolutely can't watch it. The problem with it for me is dreams.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
And I think, what an absolutely brilliant idea the person who wrote that films to suggest that this thing could get at you through your dreams. I mean, oh my days, so how it's just, that's another level scary stuff for me. My favorite, I think, horror, if I had to choose one, because I'm not a big horror fan, would have to be the original Poltergeist film.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I loved that. It was just, although that priest is quite haunting, and he's that was very well acted, and I'm not sure he was actually ever totally alive, because he's so drawn, isn't he? That he looks like he could be dead anyway.
Yes,
but absolutely brilliant. So the next question I've got for you is bucket list park and bucket list coaster.
Oh, right, okay. I'll let you go first.
Bucket list park. At the moment, I think it's going to have to be Fantasyland.
Fantasyland? No, bucket list horror park.
No, I thought it was bucket list park.
No. Sorry, no. We start with just bucket list park. Then the next question, I do apologise. I'll take that one out. It's distracting. So bucket list park.
Right.
Just any park.
Fantasyland.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I've heard so much good things about Right to Happiness. I've gone.
Not Right to Happiness. It's in Plopsaland.
Oh my god. Is it? Yes. Oh my god. You can tell I've been working today. I am knackered.
Absolutely, don't worry.
Yeah, Fly is in Fantasyland.
Yes, it is. Yes, that's right. Yes.
Taran in Fantasyland. Taran.
Yes,
I really want to go
well.
Yes.
For me, actually, it would be a UK park. I really want to go to Flamingo Land. And I want to go on Sick, because I've heard very good things about Sick. So I want to go on that.
I've heard it's really sick.
Yeah.
If you ever get the chance to talk to Coaster Tog about Sick,
right.
he put a TikTok up of sick, and I believe that the comments are still coming in now, and some of them are absolutely hilarious. He's had everything from you do realize it was made in China. I'm not sure what the relevance of that actually is, but some of these comments are absolutely hilarious. Talk to him about it if you get a chance, because it is hilarious. But yeah, 6 on my bucket list as well. I'm going to get there next year.
Yeah.
I really hoped to get there this year, and unfortunately it just didn't pan out. But oh yeah, and as he's just put in the comments there, it's just Colossus. He's had that comment so many times as well. It's just it's hilarious that what people will comment on some of these videos. So
yeah, I do want to
as you start,
because of the simple fact of I don't like Colossus.
oh, I never used to until I learned to ride it without getting a headache.
Genuine.
And now I appreciate it.
Genuine. I feel every time I go on Colossus, I've been in the ring with Mike Tyson.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, I did used to feel that way about it, definitely. But yeah, I've learned with Colossus that don't let them staple you in with the restraint, and lean in to sort of, you know, lean forward. Don't sit back like they tell you to. You know, they say, "Oh, sit right back," and no, don't. That's fatally. Don't do that. Lean in through the head restraint, and then of course you've got that.
Yeah.
I try every way. I'm like 4'11". No, genuinely, I am.
Oh, bless you.
And I whack my head, even if I lean into it, even if I lean back, even if it's like this.
Well, it's a similar.
We'll have to get you a little cushion.
I'm gonna have to, yeah.
It's a similar thing to when on Furious Baco, isn't it, in Portaventura?
Oh, yeah.
And people said that was rough, and I really enjoyed that. But you just smacked your head around.
I was like,
oh, bless her. Bless you. I feel your pain. I do feel your pain. So, what about your bucket list horror park?
Tully's.
Yeah, Tully's. Yeah, I have to agree with that. It's usually got 10 mazes, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So trying to get there, I think, or even Fear Island. I know it's not a horror park, but
an event.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Kaz from Kaz's Crafts and More. She's also part of Dave's Adventures. Is asking your favourite dark ride.
Hex.
Yeah, I have to agree.
no, beat that. Hex.
You guys were doing great until you said that.
I love Hex.
Sure it is. It's the lead up, it's the story, it's the music, isn't it?
It's just the magic. When you come off, everybody's like, how did they do that?
Yeah, and we know, obviously, but yeah, just seeing people's reactions.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm so glad that we managed to get back on it this year. Like, I just love it. They need their own shop dedicated to Hex, because I'll buy all the merch.
Bless you. I'm not Hex's biggest fan. I've got to be honest.
Really?
The story's amazing, and I just think that the ride lets it down a little bit. You know, it's for me, it's a madhouse, and there are better madhouses out there. The story is great, and I think it could be done more justice with something a little bit. I don't know what, but some sort of, I don't know. I think something more similar to obviously when Jewel was a ghost train, or before they introduced the silly plastic guns and ruined Jewel by doing that. I think it could have been rethemed to tell the story somehow better. I don't know. To me, Hex is good. I'm not gonna lie. I don't hate it. But I won't go out of my way to go and do it if there's better rides available. I do love, however, the Haunted House Monster Party at Legoland.
That's really good.
That's just awesome. I absolutely love that one, and that tune just stays in your head.
Yeah, the soundtrack of that is amazing.
Yeah.
It is. It makes it, doesn't it? It really does make it.
we quite like the haunting in Drayton Manor as well, don't we?
Yeah, but to be fair though, Hex has had a little makeover recently.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been in it recently at all.
The last time I went in, it was I was there in July, and it freakily just opened up. Everyone had thought it was closed for the season, and it just popped open.
Yeah, it had extra things packed into it, just little effects that they put in.
Yeah,
it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nice that they're actually kind of looking after it, but yeah, the haunting was really good as well. I liked some of the effects of the flowerbirds and the ghosts and stuff. So, but again, Hex has my heart.
Bless you. Bless. No, as you say, it is a lovely story, and I think, you know, the building is it lends itself very well to the story that it's set in. I just not sure the madhouse aspect works for me. But you know, it is loved by many people, and I'm just one. So, and I do appear to be very much in the minority about my opinion of Hex. But yeah. So I don't think there's any more questions coming through at the moment. I did have a question myself for you, another one, but I can't remember what it was now. It's gone. It'll come back to me after we've gone off air. It'll come back to me, and I'll go, oh yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. As there's obviously there's no more questions, I am going to wrap it up now. We've believe it or not, we've been chatting for over an hour. It's absolutely lovely. I've loved talking to you guys, and I really hope that we can talk more soon. You know, and I'm so grateful to Coaster Chicken for pointing me in your direction. I often talk to him about people that he thinks would be great for the show, and people that, you know, I should follow. And yeah, he was very much Hangtime Horror. Go and have a look at Hangtime Horror. And
he's like,
he's such a. Do you know what? I love him. I absolutely love Coaster Chicken. He's such a great guy. He's nice. I've met him a few times now, and he's absolutely amazing. So I trust his opinion on these things quite a lot. So yeah, and he hasn't disappointed. I've obviously, from the day I started talking to yourself, Celyn, and now obviously, you know, meeting Johnny and getting to know you as well, it's been absolutely fantastic. And as I say, I hope that we can meet up at Thorpe Park, or, you know, or maybe even tie up a visit to Flamingo Land.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that coincides, because then it's a park that neither of us have done before, and it would be quite nice to try and do that. So I'll be in touch about that, and we'll talk a bit more about that. Until then, as I say, we have run out of time, so I'm going to wrap it up. Good luck with the YouTube channel.
Thank you.
I have added the links for your YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, or the Hangtime Horror ones anyway, to the description of the video. If you send me over the Johnny, your movie reviews TikTok as well, I can get that added afterwards. I'll edit the description and get that added in for you as well, because I know quite a few people would love to see that. Just got to finish on the one thing that I get asked as a Welsh speaker, and I'm sure Celyn gets asked all the time. Come on, Celyn. I'll do it if you do it. The longest place name in Wales is Llanfair Pwll Gwyn Gillgo Gerich Chwndrobl Llantysilio Gogogoch. And what a way to end the show. There we go. I knew I'd get it in somewhere. Thank you so much, guys. It's been lovely. And I'll see you again soon.
See you soon.
Take care for now.
Bye.
Bye. And there we go, guys. We've reached the end of another show. Thank you for watching, everybody. If you're watching the recording, thank you for watching, obviously back later on. It's been another fabulous show. Next week, I'm still waiting on a confirmation for next week's guest. I do have a backup plan otherwise, so I'm not going to announce any guests tonight, because as I say, it could be subject to change. but obviously we will be back next week with another show. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. As always, it's been a pleasure, and I've enjoyed your company, and I hope you've enjoyed talking to Hangtime Horror as much as I have. So until next week, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.